Hi and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Cassia. On this channel we discuss all aspects of the Ascension process. I have a variety of services that I offer to assist you in your awakening journey, and you can find those listed in the description box below. We're going to be doing the daily reading today for Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. Excuse me. And today is a day that's ruled by the third eye and guided by intelligence. And it is a portal day today. And we talked about, this whole year of 2020 being a portal, and these last couple months in general, just the entire month being a portal in and of itself, right? But then we have a specific portal opening up today. And so this is a day where we're going to be receiving a lot of energetic upgrades and downloads, DNA recalibrations, all of that stuff coming through very, very strongly on these portal days marked on the Galactic calendar. So it's a day to really care for ourselves, to really make sure that we're getting rest, that we're hydrating, all of the things, right? To really take care of our physical vessels, our emotional bodies, our spiritual bodies as we are experiencing these upgrades, and to get plenty of rest. Especially on a day ruled by the third eye, there's heavy psychic energy in the air today. So absolutely take advantage of that if you feel guided to do so through meditation, through mindfulness, whatever ways that you feel drawn to communicate with your galactic team, with your guides, with your angels. Today is a beautiful day to be doing that. And so we have the yellow lunar seed as the galactic energy of the day. And the yellow seed energy is about flowering, intention, and awareness. And so this energy is asking us to be really aware of the seeds that we are planting, right? What seeds are we planting in our lives that we wish to flower, right? Like we plant the seed and then it begins that process of flowering and growing, right? As we continue to nurture it and to water it and to care for it with our focused intention, with our words, our thoughts, and our actions and our vibration, and making sure that those are in alignment with the seeds that we're planting. And know that we're planting seeds all the time, whether we're consciously aware of this or not. And so today is asking us to be consciously aware of those seeds that we are planting. With this lunar, excuse me again, with this lunar tone, that's the tone of challenge, right? The tone of polarity, the tone of contrast. And so this is an interesting energy with this yellow seed energy. This is the energy of really being aware of all of the challenges that are presenting themselves to us in our lives right now, and seeing from that higher perspective of how those challenges are actually facilitating this process, and what it is that those challenges are teaching us, how those challenges can help us to be more aware of the seeds that we have been planting that are now flowering, and how we can mindfully plant new seeds if what is coming into our awareness, if the challenges that we are creating, right, that are there to facilitate our growth are not in alignment with what we want. We're being able to see that contrast today, and then that is deepening that level of awareness as we move forward. We have a lot of intense energies in the air today. We do have that fire trine going on between Venus, Mars, and the South Node that I talked about in the new moon or the full moon in Aries video. So that those energies for that full moon are already ramping up. The full moon is going to be the day after tomorrow. And so we're within the energies of that. We're feeling these astrological combinations. We may be feeling a lot of tension where masculine and feminine relationships are concerned, as we are loosening up those old timelines and those old karmic and ancestral imprints around masculine and feminine power dynamics and all of that. We're feeling that moon approaching Chiron. The moon will be exactly conjunct Chiron during the full moon. And so we're feeling the energies of that picking up as well. There's a lot of trauma that's coming up for people right now to be processed, that we're getting ready to release, that we're working through. And so just really being cognizant of that as well, and the fact that everybody is dealing with that right now, and people may be a little bit on edge. Fortunately, we do have a day where the moon is very pleasantly aspected So this is absolutely helpful. And the moon is in Pisces right now, so it's a very that heightens that intuitive energy that we're talking about, that psychic energy, right? But it's also a very emotional energy. It's a deep energy. It's an energy where we are very deeply connecting with the collective as well. And so we want to be aware of what energies we are taking on from the collective and what energies are our own. And we're going to notice this when it comes to the trauma that we're dealing with too, and like which trauma is our own and which is not, and which are we ready to start disidentifying with. And this is a deep layer. As that moon begins to approach Chiron, and right now the sun is opposing Chiron, but the moon is going to be conjunct Chiron as well. And so just as an aside, as it approaches, it's that deeper, right? Because the moon is our subconscious and those deeply ingrained layers of that trauma that's coming up to be processed. But yeah, like I said, we have the moon sextile Jupiter and Uranus. It's conjunct Neptune. Oh yeah, there we go. That's that high psychic energy right there too. Moon in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces, right? And so these are pleasant energies. We have also Saturn stationing direct today. So that's going to be really helpful as we begin then moving forward. Saturn, as of tomorrow, will start moving forward again, and we can see some progress being made as far as that goes. But it is like the solidifying of those lessons that we've learned during that Saturn retrograde, of that karma, all that karmic stuff that's been coming up, those cycles that we've been completing. Like we're ready to start now moving forward, receiving some of the karmic returns for the work that we've put in as Saturn joins Jupiter going direct. So that's a really exciting energy that we are experiencing today. But we want to be aware of all of the different factors, all of the wounding that's coming up, all of these different things. And we want to just, awareness being that key word, be really aware, because our thoughts and our actions are seeding our reality right now, as they always are. And so we want to take care not to get too caught up in these traumatic emotional energies that may be surfacing. We instead want to utilize this heavy psychic energy to move above that, to look at that from that higher perspective, to look deeply into that, but like we said, to avoid getting stuck in it, to see it, to experience it, to acknowledge it, to love it, but not to get trapped within it. And to understand that doesn't have to be part of our identity moving forward. It taught us things, it helped to shape us, but it doesn't have to define us as we move forward. All right, so we're going to get into some cards here and see what the cards have to say. And yes, we do have the affirmation as well. I'm still getting used to reading the affirmations for you guys. So the affirmation for the yellow lunar seed is... Oh, did this one not have it? Oh boy. Here we go. There we go. All right. I polarize in order to target, stabilizing awareness. I seal the input of flowering with the lunar tone of challenge. I am guided by the power of intelligence. And so with this lunar tone, it is seeing those challenges as opportunities and seeing them, like we said, as tools to increase our awareness. And the contrast that comes from those challenges. The contrast showing us what we want and what we don't want, right? Contrast is an absolutely beautiful gift. All right, and we're doing the Monology Oracle cards. We're going to see what's coming up from the Monology deck. What is our guidance for today? And we have Work Through Your Fears as the first card coming out. New Moon in Scorpio. And we do have Mercury in Scorpio right now. Mercury will be stationing on the 14th and then beginning its retrograde. Its third and final retrograde cycle, beginning in Scorpio, moving back into Libra. And then once it finishes its retrograde, then moving forward and through the remaining degrees of Libra back into Scorpio. So... yes, there's a lot of that energy as well. Our mental processes right now are very passionate. They're very emotional. It's a lot of that, so much of that subconscious stuff coming up right now. And so really working through that shadow material, really being honest with ourselves about what our fears are and being able to look at those fears from a more detached standpoint, where we're not attaching to them, we're not identifying with them anymore. We're having the courage to walk through them, right? Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to walk through fear. And then we have your commitment is being tested. And have faith in your dreams. So I feel for a lot of people, this is when we have all of this trauma coming up, when we have all of these challenging circumstances, right? Where our dreams for our lives are concerned, whatever those dreams may be. A lot of us are in that place right now of sort of, those fears are coming up and we may be falling victim to them a little bit. And we may not have, I'm going to pull these down so you guys can see them more. We may not have that faith that things are going to work out. Like that faith and that commitment is being tested. So we talk about this all the time. When we find our purpose, when we find the things that really matter to us and we begin pursuing those, that naturally brings up fears that are meant to be processed and worked through. That is part of the grand design. And so if those fears are coming up, know that they're coming up for a reason so that you can find the courage to walk through them. And they were there all along. It's just now they're being triggered and coming to the surface so that they can be healed and worked through. And so we can see that they're not as scary as we think they are. The monster under the bed is really scary when he's just in our minds, right? But when we peek under the bed, we look that monster in the eye, a lot of times we realize he's not nearly as scary as we thought. And so that's kind of the energy right now. It's that energy of, are you able to remain committed to your goals? Are you able to keep the faith to know and believe that what you want to achieve is that all possibilities are possible, right? That what you want to achieve is possible. And are you willing to continue to walk through those fears, to continue to keep that faith, to continue to put one foot in front of the other and move in the direction that your soul is calling you to go, even if there are outward circumstances that seem to be painting a different picture for you. Even if you're starting to feel like things aren't going to work out, you're starting to lose hope, are you able to keep going anyway? How committed are you? How much do you believe? And then we have the energy is gaining momentum, right? So it's like, this is what we talk about all the time. It's like, do not judge the reality of your creation process by what is mirrored out to you outwardly in the world. There's so much going on in the unseen that we can't know, right? This is all an illusion, and it is a malleable illusion, right? But we have to allow physical time to catch up. And manifestations are happening a lot faster. Time is moving differently now. It's not the hiccups and the sort of lag time, if you will, is getting shorter and shorter, but it still exists sometimes. And there are still sometimes it's because we have these fears that we still need to work out. We have these blocks, we have this stuff, it's that contrast, right? We need to experience some of that challenge and some of that contrast in the meantime. But that does not mean that things are not happening for us. And then you're very close to achieving your goal. See, it's right around the corner. This came up in the reading the other day, I think, that don't give up before the fat lady sings. I don't know if that was in a zodiac that I just did or if that was in one of these daily readings, but I distinctly remember saying that. And that's the energy that I'm feeling here too. It's like, this is the final test. Like, are you able to stay focused? Are you able to keep that faith? Are you able to keep moving forward even when it feels like you're moving backward, right? Are you willing to stay the course? And if you are, that energy is actually gaining momentum in the unseen, and your goal, whatever it is that you are wanting to achieve, will be achieved. And then we have a time to give rather than take. A new romantic cycle begins. A win-win outcome is forecast, and expect powerful change. So, yeah. For anyone who is also dealing with, and this is what we talked about with those masculine and those feminine energies, and the way we are rewriting that dynamic right now, and a lot of those old collective energies are being revised, and we're dissolving those old templates of relationships, right? Like, there is powerful change in store for people where that is concerned. I feel as though there's a situation where, if there's a romantic situation where you've been struggling to find balance, you've been struggling to find a compromise, to find fairness, it's making me think of the Six of Pentacles with the reciprocity type energy, right? If that's been a struggle for you, then understand that like that has been a learning experience as well, and there is change on the horizon as far as that's concerned. But it's with this new moon and Virgo card, a time to give rather than take. It's like a time to, instead of asking what your partner can do for you, ask what you can do for them. Give that energy that you're wishing to receive back, and watch that actually be reflected back to you. And I mean, this isn't necessarily, like if we're talking about super toxic situations, that's not what we're referring to here. We're referring to a situation where you are struggling to find that balance and that harmony. And there's aspects and there's lessons that you guys are learning together right now. And it's being so focused on the other person and what they're doing is not the solution to this situation. It's like bringing it back to you and bringing it back to what is it that I can contribute. And changing our expectations of other people, maybe. Like instead of putting all, like Virgo energy can be very critical, looking at what somebody else is doing and judging that. So it's like turn that mirror around back on yourself. What is it that you are doing? How is it that you're reacting? Right? What can you learn about yourself? We're learning a lot about ourselves right now when it comes to our relationship with ourselves and how that's reflected outwardly. So really, just being in that giving and that loving energy and kind of giving people the benefit of the doubt and giving people room to go through what they're going through right now, and understanding that while you're going through things, so are they. We are all in this incredible growth period right now. And so there's just a lot of energies that aren't exactly what they seem. And so not jumping to conclusions. And knowing that if there's a situation where you've been seeking change, you've been seeking some sort of adjustments, make those adjustments first within yourself as well. That's all I'm feeling, is really like moving into the self and knowing that as we consistently take it back to the self, then things begin to change on the outside as well, because we're changing them on the inside. I feel like there are people that are in relationships right now that are heavily mirroring each other. And it's just being aware of that and actually utilizing that energy in a constructive manner. And then we have luck is on your side and a fiery climax approaches. So it should be hot and juicy, you guys. All right. Let's see. Do I want to do anything else for you guys before we close today? I actually want to do a Divine Feminine card for you guys. Let's see what guidance the Divine Feminine Oracle has for us. Guidance for today, Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. What is the guidance for today? Guidance from the Divine Feminine. All right. And so we have Lala, the saint of spoken words. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. And Queen Esther, the morning star. My ego is in the service of my soul, and I trust my soul's divine timing. Yeah, so I am the author of my own story. This is what we're talking about, right? Like, we create our own reality. We can choose the story. We can choose the storyline. If we don't like the storyline, we can choose to change that. It's all within our control to do so. And every word I say becomes a prayer. This is like the speaking with intention, right? This is when we go back to that flowering energy, that seeding energy, really understanding the power of our thoughts and our words and how those are seeds that we're planting. And speaking with devotion, speaking from that mindful place where we're understanding that energy and we're utilizing it to our advantage, right? Yeah. Healing communication. I'm feeling that coming through. Healing communication. And then trusting in divine timing, trusting in everything. Trusting, this is like the unification like the transcendence of the ego, right? When the ego actually works, because the ego is always working to serve us. It's just sometimes that's where those fears come up, right? Is the ego wants to protect us. And sometimes it thinks that the way to protect us is actually to hold us back because it doesn't want us to fail. It doesn't want us to put ourselves in a situation where we may experience something that is going to be painful for us. And so this is when the ego and the soul come into alignment. And I have a spiritual teacher and he talks about it all the time. He talks to his ego. He soothes his ego. He thanks his ego for the job that it does. And then he tells it that he will call on it when he needs it in order to navigate a situation. And so it's this interesting way that he makes friends with his ego that he's teaching me how to do that can be really helpful, because the ego wants to feel useful. It wants to feel loved. We act like we have to be in this battle with our ego all the time, and that's not the way that it is. It exists for a reason. It can be an incredible tool when we know how to unify it. And so when we work with our ego, it can work in service to our soul. Instead of holding us back out of fear, it can show us when things are out of alignment. It can be there to guide us and to lead us in those moments when we need that survival instinct, when we need that wisdom, right? But then other times, it can sit back and it can allow us to run the show with spirit, of course. Yes. And just trusting in the divine timing. When we write, like everything that's happening in the unseen, all of that energy that's gaining momentum behind the scenes that we may not see manifested outwardly in our reality right now. Just trusting in the timing of that and knowing that everything unfolds perfectly every time. And just allowing that and continuing to have that faith, to have that trust that things are going to work out and are working out always in our best interest. And then we have Saint Bridget, Our Lady of Exalted Light. I give endlessly because the light is without end. My soul is all I need. So this is that Virgo energy again, right, that we got. The energy of giving. The energy of learning how to look at situations, look at our relationships, instead of what can I get, what can I give? And how that can then transform our relationships in a really beautiful way. And this idea of, like, I'm just keep being drawn to her light here. The light that we are shining into the world, and that beautiful light that we shine. The way that we give just by existing in the brilliance of our own light. We give so much to the collective, to the world, and just continuing to be that beautiful force of good in the world, even when things look ugly, even when it doesn't seem like the world is reciprocating or appreciating that. We do it anyway, out of that unconditional love for all creatures and all things. And there's a lot of prayer energy. There's a lot of reverence energy here. So just having that reverence for every aspect of your life, for all the people in your life and the parts that they are playing and what they're teaching you, how they're helping you to grow, how they're helping you to shine. And then we also have Thecla, the prophetess of true power. I call my power back from all times and all places. I am my own. And Mashig Labdran, the diamond-hearted Dakini. I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. So a lot of energy coming through with the ego right now. And really learning how to make friends with the ego, discarding those old limiting belief systems, working through those fears, right? The ego, a lot of times in its lower expression, is operating out of fear. So really examining those fears, that's being called upon a lot. Being in that place of love, that receptiveness, that place of giving, that place of harmony, really harmonizing with our ego, facing that darkness, doing that shadow work, those last bits of shadow work that we're being called to do right now during this time as we approach this full moon, so that we can be free of all that is holding us back, of all those aspects of ourselves, so that we can call our power back, fully step into our power and move from that place as we enter this next phase, this beautiful October energy that is beckoning to us, that is so exciting. Yes. And then on the bottom of the deck, we have Joan of Arc, the warrior of light. I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels armor me with conviction. So really moving forward, this is that conviction. This is that energy of like, do you have faith in your dreams, right? Your commitment is being tested. Stand strong in your commitment to yourself, to your path, to what it is that you're wishing to create, to that harmony that you are attempting to achieve in all aspects of your life. Stay focused and committed to that. We are all warriors of light right now, right? And it may be feeling a bit dark. We may be feeling discouraged, but now is not the time to give up. Now is the time to work. I was going to say to work harder than ever, but like I don't want to say that in a way that makes it seem like we just have to work all the time, just go, because we do want to be taking that time to nourish ourselves as well, but to continue to grow and to evolve and to be actively engaged in that process. That's what I want to say. Yeah. So this is absolutely incredible energy. I love it. I wish you all the most beautiful day. If you wish for any assistance working through these fears and these ego beliefs, letting go of anything that is limiting you, calling back your power, please reach out to me. I do personal healing sessions. I do personal readings. They can be really powerful and really helpful as we are navigating these energies. All of that information is in the description box below, as well as a link to donate if you feel so moved to do so. I appreciate all donations. They help me to continue to put out all of this free content that I love making for you guys. Like this video, share, subscribe, comment if it resonated. I have to say all that stuff just as a reminder. I love and appreciate you so much. And then this is going to be our final card here, is Kuan Yin popped out, the goddess of compassion. I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. So we're really being called to step into that compassionate energy today. When it comes to ourselves, when it comes to other people, just understanding that the world is full of suffering, but it's also full of the overcoming of it. And we don't have to live in that suffering. We can recognize it. We can honor it. But we can also release it. We don't have to attach to it, like we said. So that message just coming up to be reiterated again. I hope you guys have a great day. Love you so much.